everybody. All right, we're going to try this again. We're not going to let technology win tonight. All righty, can y'all hear us okay? We're going to try this again. There we go, guys. Y'all just bear with us. We're still connected. There we go. There we go. Can you hear me okay? Perfect. All right. Y'all do us a big favor. If y'all can hear us loud and clear, just go ahead and double tap that screen so we know that we're coming through loud and clear and you can hear us. Welcome to our live. My name is Alex, and we're going to talk about all things Stoners Haven tonight, and I'm so excited. Unfortunately, we're not able to be joined by our Chief Strategic Officer Bruce Granger, but we are able to be joined by the lovely and fabulous Miss Judy Gallegos, who is our founder and CEO. We are so excited to sit with you for a few minutes. We're going to make sure to get Bruce back on very, very soon, so keep an ear out for that. But for tonight, we're going to talk about what Stoners Haven is and everything that you need to know about why you should be a part of this amazing Stoners Haven family. Judy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Would you just kick us off with, hey, if nobody's ever heard of Stoners Haven, real quick, what is Stoners Haven? What sector do y'all even operate in? What does that look like?
Yeah, so thank you for having me, first and foremost. So we are building a vertically integrated cannabis cornucopia. And so what that looks like is cultivation. So we'll be cultivating, manufacturing as well. So that is whether we're infusing or extracting into concentrates or infusing and making additional products. And so it really is from start to finish cannabis. Once again, cornucopia, really.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So, this market is still growing. It's still new in a lot of areas. Tell us a little bit about, as you guys are kind of getting into this, what have you guys seen is the most unmet need in this market? And what are you guys doing to kind of shift that and address those issues?
Well, so that's a lovely question, first and foremost, because you know, business is, of course, business, right? And so there's a lot of difficulties and a lot of challenging, but then you throw cannabis on top of it and the legalization aspects and the different compliancy aspects and things like that. And this has literally been an entire beast, all on its own, like an entirely different kind of beast. And so because it is cannabis, there are, certain additional challenges and hoops and loops and figure rounds that have to take place or that have had to take place. And so some areas initially, of course, that I think is education within the industry, right? There is a lack of resources for funding, for education, for businesses, for entrepreneurs wanting to come into the industry because of the federal legalities of it. And so, because of that, it really, unless you are able to have, a lot of cash or a lot of resources in that area. It's really hard to go into this industry, of course, just because of the compliance issues. We talk about, it being socially equitable, but what does that mean, right? If you're having, not everybody can invest or come up with thousands of dollars to, invest in a company that they would like to build. And so really shedding light on that and bringing different ideas to the table around that has definitely been something that we've had to really do. Another thing, of course, is working for, against those advocacies, the negative stereotypes, I should say, and really advocating against those is another, of course, really unmet need that I have found. There's still that olden days stereotypical idea that if you consume cannabis, then you are a stoner, and therefore then you are, unsuccessful and not thriving. And so really breaking down those stigmas and showing that entrepreneurs here whether it's into the industry or here in New Mexico, this is a legitimate industry now. So we have moved far from olden day thought processes, and so trying to bring that and move that forward as long has definitely been an area I think that we can, that we're looking to really highlight. Some other unmet, like I said, the funding for investors back in 2017, I had started getting into looking into what investing in the cannabis industry looked like. And, just like I said before, it's a six-figure digit just to get in. And so when we talk about socially equitable, that really eliminates a lot of people from ever investing or being able to. And so looking at how we want to address that and how we really wanted to build that here in New Mexico, we wanted to make sure that anyone who wanted to invest in cannabis and wanted to become part of something and grow and help grow a company from literally startup, because that's what this is. This is a startup. Would be able to do that. And so we brought on an amazing SEC corporate attorney named Darren Mangum, and he has helped us tremendously. But yeah, so definitely, funding for investors is definitely an unmet need. Education and advocacy within the cannabis industry. One thing so this entire project started for me back in 2017 with, just like I said, just my personal interest, and then it grew. And so looking at that and looking at other markets and the research that I did, it was very apparent, and seeing what initially happened here in New Mexico when we legalized, there were a lot of individuals that went out and got in the industry, whether it be a retail license or, some carrier licensing, things like that aren't tied to cultivation. And what the research that I've done has shown in other states is right around the 24-month mark to the 36-month mark, those retailers that aren't tied to cultivation are at high risk. And so, coming into the industry and wanting to make sure that we are helping those retailers stay in and we're cultivating quality products that they're going to be able to stay in business and stock their shelves with. That has been another really, area that we're trying to address, as far as the lack of product in the state, as far as making sure that we're a resource for everyone, to everyone that are up against these same challenges, right? And so if we can join heads and we can figure out the workarounds, and it can be we can help support the industry, then it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think it's interesting how many aspects you guys are able to affect and impact just because of the way that you guys are set up. Like you said, vertically integrated. That's so cool. And the thing I love is it's from what you're saying, it's not just about cannabis though.
Right.
So it seems like there's more to that. Can you kind of go a little bit deeper into like exactly what that impact looks like for you guys? Because you guys are really poised in a really cool position to really have your hands in a lot of different areas.
Yeah, so my background is in human services, and in working within state government. And so looking at this and looking at what we are trying to build, the mission and the goal is to give back to the community in real tangible ways. And really, you know, I think that sometimes, when you're able to come together and allocate resources and utilize resources in different ways, then I think that great things can happen. And I think sometimes what I found while I was working in state government is sometimes you're kind of hands are tied with as far as you can possibly help or make that impact. And so this for me was like kind of like a means to an end, right? And so we are looking to allocate 5% of cannabis profits back to serve the communities that we're serving, and form, whether it's partnerships or help nonprofits around the state, join hands with them, whatever that looks like. We're really wanting to do that and then utilize the profits of the cannabis. So this isn't just the stereotypic like, yeah, let's grow weed, man, and no, there's definitely a mission and purpose behind, and intentional strategic planning behind every single portion of the company, whether it be specifically our cultivation side of things, or whether it be our retail side. How can we support the current retail market here in New Mexico? Whether it be, like I said, man, social media and cannabis, ooh, that is a whole nother beast. My ex team right now, I mean, we have literally had nights where they're just like crying because it is, it's difficult. And so I think that we have, in saying that, I think that we have found we've learned a lot. And so I think that there's a lot that we can share with other entrepreneurs and other businesses here in the cannabis industry. And we want to make sure that we're highlighting those cultivators and the other entrepreneurs. So, definitely we're all about community and giving back and being a resource, whether it be in the communities that we're serving, whether it be our employees and creating an amazing work culture, or whether it be, just as a whole, that, in the industry as well. So out the industry, just as a whole, we're just here to be a resource.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's cool to see an organization set themselves up like that from the very beginning, from the startup phase. So
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely phenomenal. As you guys are watching, if you guys have questions for Judy specifically, drop them in the chat. We're going to get to them here in just a moment. I have another question for you though before we get to those questions. So
Sure.
you mentioned you've mentioned some people on your team. You mentioned workplace culture is really important to you. What you guys are still in startup level, but what level of experience do you currently have on your staff amongst your team? Because you guys have a pretty impressive staff from the of it.
Yeah, we do. So initially when when I was looking at this, and looking at because I knew I wanted to do something in this industry. I just quite was trying to figure out and dial in on what. Well, then the vision just grew bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it got to a point where it's like, okay, like let's go big or go home. Because when the legalization took place, and I was looking at all the legislature, you could go into the realm of like a micro business, but then you're stopped at one location. The amount of growth that you're able to do and the impact that we were looking to do, we wouldn't be able to do for like 3 to 5 years, right? First, yeah. So and that's significant. And so it was like, okay, guys, we're gonna go big or go home. And we're going to incorporate all these aspects. We need to cultivate. We need to have an investment offering. We need to make sure that we are vertically integrated and that we're supporting the current resources. Because of the research that was done, I knew that there was going to be a need. And so, looking at all of that and looking at, okay, that's a huge job for just one person. So we need to start building out the infrastructure. So this whole thing actually started as far as starting to look for the team and bringing team members on and the different pieces that were going to be needed in order to make this reality. That started March 2022, right? And so we have a team now. It is a 15-man team. 15-man team. It's crazy. And so we have 2 chief strategic officers. One is Bruce Granger. He will be helping us with all of our cultivation as far as growing aeroponically as well as manufacturing. He's literally been in the game since day one. He helped Colorado in the rule. He was one of the original rule makers in Colorado when they released the medicinal program as well. So he has had success running a dispensary. He has overseen and owned and operated cultivation locations in excess of over 40,000 square feet. So, I mean, we're talking about proven successful experience in the cannabis industry. And then we also have a chief strategic officer named Matt Kennicott. He's located here in New Mexico. He as well has 18 plus years of legislation experience here in the state. He also has, prior experience for him was in state government as well. And so he has joined our team. He will be handling all of our licensing, compliance, all of that good stuff. And then we have 5 chief officers. They are a production officer. So we have 5. They're production, logistics. We have human resource, and then retail. And all of them, are really SMEs in their own respective industries. Our, human resource officer, she has over 20 years of experience in human resources. She is definitely open-minded, and so the whole idea of like cannabis and the workplace and how that works together, she's amazing. So in addition to that, of course, we have our, director of finance, we have a director of compliance, and then we have this X team. And the X team I want to mention specifically because they're the people that when you guys everybody goes to our social medias, that's who they get to see. And they are absolutely amazing. So I just want to give them kudos. But yeah, and that is a 4-man team. So yeah. Yeah.
I love it. So you guys have, so it's not like you guys have, just people who are just getting started in this. Like
No.
you have experts of the experts on this team that you're building right now. That's amazing. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what it would look like. You've mentioned socially equitable a few times. You've mentioned the investment opportunity a few times. What does that actually look like? If I were to say, "Hey, Judy, I'm curious. I want to know more. What does it look like to be an investor in Stoner's Haven? What is the benefit for me? What does that, get used for?" Help me understand that process of it.
Wonderful. So, like I talked before, 6 digits, that's a lot to come up with to invest in a cannabis company. And, as far as cannabis and the public stock exchange, of course, there's compliancy issues there, right? And so in looking at this and in looking at the investment offerings, that I currently or I previously had either been vetted for or, researched and dove into, like I said, as far as socially equitable, it didn't really meet those needs. So to me, what socially equitable is that anyone who wants to invest, they have the opportunity to, right? And so at six figures, I'm like, yeah, that's not really socially equitable. Even at the $1,000 mark, right? That's not really socially equitable. So what we did is we took 12% of our company and we have allotted it to direct ownership to investors. Okay. And so out of that 12%, we broke that up into 120,000 shares.
Okay.
So each share broke down to $10 a share. We linked up once again with the best, I won't say one of the, I will see the best SEC and corporate law attorney, Darren Mangum, who helped us, go through that process, get approved through the SEC. We also linked up with Mainvest, who, we went through a very lengthy process, bad character checks, all of that good stuff as far as getting vetted, just to be able to put this offering out for investors. And so it is through Mainvest, they have a $100 minimum investment requirement. And so there's no additional investment charges or anything like that. And so essentially for $100, you can purchase direct ownership into Stoner's Haven. And anyone who invests in Stoner's Haven, right, you become part of our family. We get to literally grow. This becomes your business as well, and we get to grow this literally from ground up and the team alone. So we talk about the team. We talk about just in talking about the team and looking at the team. Yeah, we're well worth the raise, and the raise in totality is $1.2 million. So that 12% is for $1.2 million. That was once again broken up into 120,000 shares. So $10 a share with a 10 share minimum, so $100. That can be purchased straight through on Mainvest. And you become direct owner of Stoner's Haven. So that means for the life of the company, you'll be able to pull dividends from the company. Any profits, we get to share that all together. And so yeah.
That's amazing. What you guys are doing is truly phenomenal. Yeah. So you're saying your shares are not the six-figure buy-in. They're $10 a share with the 10 share minimum. So $100 is all it's going to take, and that will get 10 shares into Stoner's Haven.
Right.
And you guys have split. You said 12% is what is being sold off right now, and that equates to 1.2 million. So what's the plan with that 1.2 million? What is that going to accomplish? And kind of the snowball that's going to create.
Right. So the really cool thing about doing it this way and thinking outside of the box, right, was the fact that, okay, one, because we were going to be vertically integrated and we were going big, right, go big or go home, you don't qualify for any type of help as far as, funding or anything like that. So, in doing it this way, essentially, the $1.2 million will cover all of our initial, all the building cost, all the cultivation costs, as well as a quarter of, working wages and operating costs, basically. So that $1.2 million is through all the way to first harvest. And essentially what that means is that you're investing in a company that at the end of that is in debt 0%.
That's amazing. So
yeah, setting it up this way and doing it this way.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When would that first harvest be?
So, of course, that depends on how fast we raise. So the idea, of course, behind this, the $1.2 million, we wanted to make sure that it was not high risk. So we are not starting construction or anything like that until we hit that $1.2 million. So the idea behind that is, as investors start investing in the company, they start spreading word, and as words start building, more and more investors start coming. There is no other than the $100 minimum, there's no maximum requirement for purchase. But So yeah, so that will take care of essentially all of those, all that initial to get us operating. If we, as soon as we get that, we could be up and operational within, 4 to 6 months. So we're looking at possibly even like harvest come, quarter 2 of next year. But once again, it just depends on how fast we get this raise. And so when I say that everybody will be joining like a startup, this is literally like you get to join, you get to invest, join the startup, how literally build this, and watch it
That,
grow.
that
So,
that's
which
phenomenal.
is also really cool because the investors that are getting in on the ground level right now, right? The potential um, for the return on investment is of course significantly higher than if it's a business that's already established and and all that good stuff. So, in joining a startup, you really do stand to reap all the benefits.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now you said something that I think is a little bit interesting, and I just want to highlight here for a second. You said 4 to 6 months, right? Did I get those numbers right? So
Say that
most
again.
you said 4 to 6 months once construction starts to harvest, right? That's a really quick turnaround. How are most growers have a longer turnaround? How are you guys, how is your harvest schedule going to be, and how are you guys able to accomplish such a good turnaround, I guess?
Well, and so just to kind of explain a little bit on the timeline, just to kind of clarify. So, as far as timeline, we've kind of just given ourselves the rest of this period to really work on funding. Um, and so, you know, growing aeroponically. So, when you think of a traditional grow, right, especially like an outdoor harvest, you do have to go through, it takes about, just for the harvest, it can take up to, 3.5, 4 months, right? Um, and that's just time in soil. And so growing aeroponically, we're able to speed that up, depending on what strains, we're able to speed that up anywhere between like 55 to about 80 to 90 days.
Oh, wow.
Um, mhm, right. And you know what? And I mean, I can't wait for Bruce to join and everybody to get to, hear him speak about cultivating aeroponically and all the science behind it because it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. One thing that growing aeroponically will also do, so when you talk about a traditional harvest and, tradition in like an outdoor setting, that harvest is never, you can plant the same strain every time. It's always going to be different, because there's always going to be different external factors. It's, cultivating that way is very high risk as well because of the external factors. And so, we've selected to grow aeroponically. Growing aeroponically, it's just like how NASA grows in space for our astronauts. So, you know much better for the environment, about 92 to 95% less water usage. And that also equates to perpetual harvest. So when we talk about for investors coming in, we're talking about, lower risk harvests. We're talking about, harvests that are better for the environment. And we're talking about potential as far as, monetary potential. This really being the grow model for the future. When even quality wise, right? This is grown in an indoor setting. We can grow vertically, and so we're not capped off
Right.
on on a parcel of land, so to speak, right? Um, and so yeah,
So you guys have really found a way to take the lid off of this box that's kind of been created for this industry and turn it into something a little bit more than that. Now
it's kind of like
you
the trifecta, I like to say. You know
it
what I mean?
it
Like we've
really
pulled all these really great parts and put it all together, and yeah,
you guys are building something that's really
this is a
phenomenal.
plan.
The thing that kind of caught my attention a second ago when you were talking about what that initial investment amount would cover.
Yeah.
You mentioned that it would cover all of those initial like operational costs, so like salaries and things like that. There's going to be a huge workforce that's going to be needed to kind of get kicked up to make this happen. What have you guys thought about what the like how many jobs are going to be needed? Like what kind of a I'm trying to figure out how to word this.
Yeah.
Basically, you guys are creating a new job market just with this system alone. So how many jobs are you guys going to be introducing expectedly right out of the gate?
Well, so we are looking, we're looking, so initially just in cultivation, it's a little bit less, but and I won't drop everything, but there is a strategic plan to serve the entire state. So there are 33 counties. If we are serving every state, that means that when we look at what we're looking at giving back, then we're able to give back to if we're serving every county, not every state. Sorry, X that out. Let me go back. If we are serving every county in the state, that's 33 counties. We'll definitely need a workforce in all. Having said that, and having expressed earlier my work history in human services, I will say, and I do not believe in coincidences, and so I was raised here in Luna County, and all of the years that I worked in human services, Luna County always either came in first or second for either most individuals living under the federal poverty guidelines, or we always had the highest rank unemployment rate. So, while I won't give exact numbers, I will say, the goal is definitely to employ people with quality jobs and create a great work culture for them, and do something really, really great in that space. So,
That's
yeah, but
amazing.
just like you said, yeah, we are looking at, as far as workforce and stuff like that, and for the mission and the vision, it would require employment, us hiring individuals all across the state.
Which is a huge game changer for some of
Yeah.
these smaller. It's
Yeah.
a huge game changer when yeah, okay. That's a conversation for another day.
Right.
Wow, this has been an amazing conversation. We are way over time, but this has been a good
Right.
talk. We're gonna be doing this again more often, guys. If we didn't get to your question, stay tuned because we'll be posting about it and answering all of your questions in some capacity over the next week to come. Real quick before we get off, Judy, if somebody is saying, I love what I'm hearing, I want to learn more about Stoner's Haven, I want to get into the nitty gritty, and I want to become an investor, where do they need to go to get all of that information and to start the investment process?
Sure. So a couple things, right? So I know that, we discussed it here. I'm also taking calls anytime. So for, any investors, you have got questions, I can sit there, we can go over the financials, I can break that down. Don't hesitate, reach out to me personally, either on, Facebook. In addition to that, you can reach out to me on, my cell phone. That's 575-299-1445. Reach out to the Stoner's Haven page. We will definitely, get to you. But yeah, so any questions, any concerns, any additional, anything that maybe even, that might come up, I can sit there and walk somebody through the MainVest website, anything like that. Don't hesitate. We are definitely here. I am here. So yeah, in addition to that, you can go to the main link, the MainVest page. There is some really great information in there. We're on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube. We're on all of them. TikTok. I was gonna say Threads, but I think that's something. One of the other ones. We're
We're
everywhere. We are
on,
everywhere. We're on all of them. It's Stoner's Haven 44. And so yeah.
perfect. Where can they find that MainVest page? Is it in your bio? Is it on your website? Where's the best place for them to find that link easily?
Yes. So so both. Yes, it is on our it's on our Facebook page. It is pinned right to the top. That will, if you go right there, that'll just take you straight over there. Yep, we got it pinned. I just wanted to verify that before I said that. That's what I was doing. If any,
you.
you know, I was verifying, but yeah, it is. It's pinned right to the top. You can go straight to the Stoners Haven page and follow that link right over.
Fantastic. Judy, thank you so much for joining us. We want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. Like I said, we're going to do this again. Our next conversation will be more of a science and into the nitty gritty of the plants and the growing strategy and the science behind what we're doing. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
We just thank you for joining us again. If you have questions, we'll answer them soon. Other than that, you guys have a fantastic night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, guys. Thank you so much for supporting and sharing. We appreciate you guys all. Thank you so much, Roxy, for your support. All of you. I'm not playing. Alex, I just had to before we end real quick, I just wanted to add that.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I have been almost like in tears because I've had so much, support and love and like, hey, it's really cool what you guys are doing. And so I just want to just take this time to thank everyone. Like I said, if you're interested, if you're not sure if you're interested, if you're not sure you're interested, if you just want to know more, maybe you're interested in the cannabis company or the cannabis industry for yourself. We're here. Reach out.
Sounds good. Have a good night, guys.
Bye, guys.